Hello, and welcome to this video. So basically I saw a video from Benji Naesen, a fellow content creator, and basically he just ranked all of the countries in the Pro Peloton, or not even in the Pro Peloton. A lot of these countries actually, they don't actually have riders in the Pro Peloton, they're Pro Continental, Continental, etc. So a lot of these countries aren't actually fantastic, but anyways, so what he did was he just ranked all these countries in a couple of tiers. Let me just actually, okay, I'm trying to zoom out because it's better for me, but how do I zoom out? Oh no, how do I zoom out, guys? Alright, let's just, it's a great start to the video, ladies and gentlemen. You're learning how to zoom out with Rufford. Very nice. But anyways, but yeah, so this is the tier list. He has S, A, B, C, D washed, which I'll just keep. And yeah, it's copied off him. I'll put his link in the description. You guys all know him, but yeah, very good YouTuber, and I'm going to try to rank all these countries. So just like he did, I've got the nations here. So yeah, let's start. So interestingly, I will say, according to PCS, right, so we're going to start with Belgium. According to PCS, they're the best team in the world. Not best team, best country in the world, literally. As of November 15, 2021, when I'm recording this video, they have a 1,000-point gap from France. And I will say actually one sort of rule, a general rule of thumb for this video. I'm going to rank them in my head, so you're going to see my thought process. It's going to be through like the categories of cycling. So we've obviously got time trialists, cobblestone riders, climbers, sprinters, punchers. I think that's it, baroudeurs, but the Thomas de Gendt, that's the only baroudeur that really matters, if we're being honest. And that's obviously in Belgium, right? So obviously they're S. And the reason they're S, and Benji said A, and this is, let's just be honest, no, he should actually get deported for this because they're S tier. Like, I don't care what you say, they're S tier, because in my metric system, right, this is not great. Like, they should actually have riders that were good this season. Like, Jan Bakelants is the 9th best rider here. That is like a real embarrassment for Belgium, to be honest, if nothing else. But yeah, S tier, and that's because in the mountains they've got Evenepoel, right? Evenepoel. Oh, who else? Thomas de Gendt is not a climber anymore, but let's be honest, mountains are kind of weak. Ben Hermans is kind of decent. But apart from that, they don't have too many climbers. Von Sevenant showed some nice signs this season, but not fantastic. Yeah, climbing-wise, they're a bit weak, but everywhere else they're very strong. Punchers, they've got Wout van Aert. Anyone else here? Philippe Gilbert, of course, one of the best punchers of all time. Van Avermaet's good. Wellens is good. Thijs Benoot is good. Bakelant in his prime wasn't actually too bad. Loads of punchers. They've always been, even Van Sevenant, as I said before, very good puncher. So they're very good on that front. Cobblestone-wise, they're also equally just amazing. Like, they've got the best cobblestone riders in the world, let's be honest. Like, of course there's Van der Poel, but in terms of a country, they're the best cobblestone team in the world if you just collate to the whole team. And let's be honest, it's just Quickstep, right? Half of Quickstep is just the best Belgian cobblestone riders, like Lampaert. They've got Van Kiersbroek. That's a weird name. I don't know why I said him. Like, he's not their second best. But yeah, a lot of good, like, Tim de Klerk is very good. I mean, I'm thinking about Quickstep. I should just be thinking about Wout van Aert, of course. Greg van Avermaet, as I said before. They've got so many good cobblestone riders. Sepp van Mark was very good this season. Oliver Naesen, like, definitely the best cobblestone country, so to speak, in the world. Time trial, probably the best in that. They've got Remco Evenepoel, who is fantastic in the time trials. Then they got Wout van Aert. And those two guys, of course, I think they got second and third in the World Championships. So that just speaks for itself in terms of their time trialing abilities. So they have to be, they just have to be S tier in terms of those two categories. And then sprinting, arguably the best sprinter in the world. I mean, apart from Caleb Ewan, of course, because I'm fiercely patriotic to the Australians, is Tim Merlier. And I think you say it like that. Like, people say Merlier. I used to hear Merlier, but I think it's Merlier. That's my Belgian pronunciation, if you were wondering. But yeah, look at these victories. I mean, these are all like small sort of Belgian classics, admittedly, but like he won in the Giro d'Italia. And some of these were against like guys like Cavendish. So, you know, Cavendish had a very good season, won in the Tour de France, had a good Benelux tour with 2 stages with a lot of like pretty fancy competition. That's not the stage he won, Ruffy the idiot. Let's go back to the stage he won, Ardui. I think this was like a sort of classic stage. Yeah, he beat Pedersen, Sagan, Van Poppel. Reasonable competition. Not A-list competition, but pretty solid. He's like one of the best sprinters in the world. So as a result, just off the basis of them being so good in so many categories, they've got to be S tier. Then we've got Bulgaria. And if you look at this list, right, if I scroll down, how many scrolls do I have to do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? 5 scrolls to get to Bulgaria, who are ironically in 55th. 5 Yeah, it's a very bad number for them, so to speak. They're not very good. 50-50 is not very good, admittedly, and they're washed. Like, I actually did some research earlier before I was recording, and I was like, is Bulgaria good? Because I was like, I didn't know any riders from Bulgaria before, and I looked at them and I was like, good. Like, I didn't want to see any riders that I didn't know, that I did know but I didn't figure, and thankfully these guys are all garbage. So yeah, I'm happy with that. And then we've got Australia. Australia, in my opinion, is very borderline. We've got A minus, we've got B plus. One of the two. It could be either one. I'm gonna go A again because I have like you got to afford me like half a point bias of patriotism, right? Just because I'm Australian, you got to afford me that much. So at the moment they're A, and of course like we won the T20 World Cup. Like what am I saying? Like we are A. I mean we're S, but we're A because this is cycling and not cricket. But yeah, yeah, we're gonna stick to A, right? Then we've got Canada. Do I know? Yeah, with the Australia reasoning, like I didn't really explain myself. We've got one of the best sprinters in the world, Caleb Ewan, Michael Matthews, fantastic cobblestone guy, Durbridge is solid, Heyman back in the day, but he doesn't really count now. Luke Plapp seems to be a good young talent. But yeah, the other important thing to look at is Australia's climbing talent. Like throughout this season, Jack Haig, Ben O'Connor, they've been so solid in the Grand Tours. They got third and third each, I think, in the Tour and the Vuelta. Like that is a fantastic performance. That is like A tier stuff in terms of just the GC. Even maybe like borderline S tier stuff on the GC front. Great 1 week racer in Richie Port, despite recovery of an ant. And then we've got. Piss off, bro. I need to edit this part out then, cuz. Alright. Alright, that was my mother. That's a very nice interruption. Thanks for that. I really appreciate that. Don't talk to your mother like that. We just have a very good relationship, right? It's all good. By the way. But yeah, I think Australia's main weakness is that we don't really have that much cobblestone depth. Like time trialing is solid, climbing is solid, sprinting's even solid, cobblestone's a bit weak. So yeah, somewhere around A or B. Then we've got Canada. Canada. Oh, the national anthem's really good as well. Like, oh, it's really nice. But anyways, Canada is 17th on this list, so they're not too bad. Mike Woods was the first person that came to mind. They don't really have a lot of depth according to this, but yeah, Mike Woods kind of carries their country in that this guy's a very good puncher. Like puncher, climber, ticked off. He's really good. They don't really have time trialists. Actually, Hugo Huller, I think that's how you say it, is pretty good. Guillaume Buffon is also really good. I think Hugo Huller did pretty solid. Look at that. Okay, so he won the NC in Canada. Doesn't mean too much, given the competition. But yeah, 20th in the World Champs is solid. Pretty solid time trialist, to be honest. But apart from that, they don't have any sprinters. They don't really have burrows. They don't have a lot of depth, right? It's very top heavy, and when I mean top heavy, it's just wood heavy. Right? It's just Michael Woods. So I'm gonna say C or D for the moment. I'm gonna be optimistic. Canadian people are very friendly, so let's be nice to them and let's say C. All right. Then we have got, I think this is Colombia. All right, this is Venezuela. This is Colombia. All right, I'm happy. I didn't screw that up. Yep. So yeah, of course, Venezuela got the stars. So yeah, Colombia, the land of the long hair. I mean, Rigoberto Urán's got long hair at least, but not everyone, Rashid. Not everyone in Colombia has long hair. Everyone looks old though. Like Quintana looks like he's 59, but he's not. Anyways, Colombia is 9th in this ranking, which means they should be probably B. I mean, the climbing talent is evident. Quintana, Urán, Bernal, Lopez, Dani Martinez was very good this season. Sprinting, not so good. Gaviria had a very weak year. Molano wasn't so good. Higuita was good. He's someone that's not here. He's a good puncher. So climbing, puncher is always good. Time trial's not so good. Sprinting, Gaviria's, I want to say he's solid, but realistically it was pretty garbage this season. And that's probably going to mean... Did I miss something? Cobblestones. I mean, they're Colombian. They don't know how to ride along cobblestones, to be honest. So, yeah, I've never seen a Colombian top 10 a cobblestone race. So, based off that, they're not that good. So, I think that's B. They could be A, but really they're top heavy in, one type of cycling, which is the climbing element. So, I'm going to keep them at B. I think this is Croatia. I want to say Croatia. I don't actually know. Could be Serbia, but I think Croatia. Come on, flags, help me out. Is it Croatia? Ladies and gentlemen, is it Croatia? Okay, let's Control C this. Is it Control C? Yeah. Control. What? How do you search things up? Control H. That's what I meant. All right, Croatia. It is. Is it Croatia? Yes. All right, that looks like it's Croatia. All right. Yeah. you guys didn't realize I was terrible at geography, specifically Eastern European nations. But Croatia are not a very good country. I mean, Emanuel Kiselovsky is not even Robert Kiselovsky, and he's their second best rider. I mean, that's all you need to know. So that is washed. With Bulgaria, it's not very good, let's be honest. Czech Republic. So Kreuziger comes to mind. Stybar comes to mind. Anyone else? Czech Republic. They got Jan Hurt, I want to say. So solid talent, not really fantastic talent. Kreuziger, yep. Jan Barta, solid time trialist. Peter Vakoc is kind of past his prime. You know, he won the Brabantse Pijl, I think, in 2017, 2018. He was solid, you know, during those years. He was actually challenging some of the best punchers, but he's not there yet at the moment. Josef Czerny's a solid Barado TT sort of guy. Schlegel's a solid climber. Jan Hurt proved himself to be really strong in this year's Vuelta, pulling for his teammate Eiking. Was it? No, that's the wrong race. Was it? I can't remember if it was the Vuelta or the Tour, but he was very strong regardless. I think Tour, actually, now that I think about it, because, yeah, Eiking was... I can't remember, but he was strong in one of the Grand Tours nonetheless. However, as a nation, you know, it's not particularly good. No offense, Czech Republic, I love you, but you weren't that good. So I'd probably put you D, but Canada probably deserves to go to C, D as well if Czech Republic's D. But for now, the Czech is such that they are in the D tier. So yeah, let's continue. We've got Germany next. When we think about Germany, I'm thinking sprinters, right? Sprinters and time trialists. Tony Martin, he's kind of washed. Schachmann, fantastic rider, good in the punchy terrain, very good in the time trial terrain. Who else have they got? I mean, they've got climbers. Bookman. Bookman's fantastic. But, I mean, I say fantastic. He's really not. Like, the guy had a pretty terrible season this season. Degenkolb, yeah, kind of washed. There's a lot of washed riders. Greipel, Degenkolb, Tony Martin, all washed. You could even say Pascal Ackermann is even, like, sort of washed. Like, he's good, don't get me wrong, but the man that sprints about 200 meters too early is just, it's not going to cut it at the World Tour level. I mean, loads of victories, you know, 2.1, 2 pro level, to be fair, but even CBO, like, he just crushes, like, weak opposition, like we expect, but against stronger opposition, he's not the same. Like, no World Tour victories, I believe, this season. Yeah, and that's kind of evident just because the guy is retarded and decides to sprint 50 meters too early and give everyone a lead out. Very convenient for everyone else. But yeah, based off that sentiment, Germany's not going to be particularly good. Schachmann is probably the best rider at the moment. Geschke's a good puncher. Time trialist-wise, they're not the same, you know, superpower they used to be. Walschied is kind of good. Walschied is a good rider. I think he's German. Cobblestones, you know, Degenkolb was their best cobblestoner. They used to have Heinrich Hausler, but thankfully he's Australian now, so good job on changing your nationality, Heinrich. I really appreciate that. And now I can fully support you, because I love you. You got nice hair. But, yeah. Germany, as a result, probably C or B, probably a high C, right? They could be B, but I think they're slightly inferior to Colombia. And I guess Colombia have really top-heavy talent in one category. Germany are kind of like decent in all of them, but not, you know, not fantastic in anything at the moment. All right, what's the next team? All right, we've got, oh no, is that Ecuador? I think it's Ecuador. And this is, I don't really need to see Ecuador. I think they've got one rider, actually two. I think Jonathan Caicedo is, like, you know, good breakaway rider, but nothing special. No Thomas de Gendt. And then you've got Richard Carapaz, who really carries this team. Fantastic rider. Won the Olympic Games road race this season. Got third in the Tour de France. Was kind of malfunctioning, albeit in the Vuelta. Let's admit, he was pretty tired out following his triumphs in the previous 2 months, and then completely just screwed up the Vuelta. But yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for Richard Carapaz, they'd be washed, but I'm going to put them D. Maybe, you know, we're going to amend the list afterwards, so maybe they go C, but at the moment, D is going to be it. Eritrea, I mean, do I know many riders from Eritrea? I mean, I play Pro Cycling Manager, so yes, but I shouldn't know. I shouldn't know too many. I think Debesai is solid. Tekla Hymanot was solid back in the day. Maui Kudus, you know, he continues to perform in, like, really mediocre, sort of trash 2.1 races, Tour of Turkey stuff, but, you know, never sort of acts on his potential in the Pro Tour. And I think that's it. Actually, no, I'm missing the god himself, Biniam Girmay. And if you look at Biniam's season, like, it has been so solid consistently. I mean, the start wasn't so good, admittedly. I mean, he got a couple of top 10s in some of these small Italian and French races and these punchy classics, but look at the end. He won GP Dube, or it used to be called GP Dube, now it's got Classic Compensation Dub. I don't know. This is weird. Like, what is this? You got the Tour de Dubs, and then you got the Classic. Like, why? Why is there two Dubs? Like, is it really that dubious? Is the race that dubious? I don't know. Maybe. But the real crowning moment of his season was a second in the World Champs race, where this guy just came out of nowhere. Like, Baroncini won, like a fantastic solo attempt from him, like from 10k out. But Girmay beat Olaf Koy, who's a fantastic sprinter in his own right. Gazzoli as well, Lewis Aski, so really good result there. And he's probably Eritrea's best rider at this point, so I'm probably going to give them D. But, yeah, I mean, they've just got a lot of middling riders. Girmay is the big potential, the big hope there. And then we move on to Spain. And now Spain is, I mean, I was thinking about this earlier, and I was like, Spain back in the day would have been like certified S tier. You don't even have to think about it type country. Like automatically S tier. Because Contador, Valverde, JJ Rojas was really good back in the day. It's a weird name, but that's what came to my mind. But yeah, Joaquim Rodriguez, like all these guys, such top tier talent. But nowadays, you know, the country's kind of befallen just a little bit. I mean, they've got Juan Ayuso, who's their big hope. They've got Oscar Rodriguez as well, thinking about young like Spanish climbers. But, you know, whilst they've got that potential, at the moment, they're best riders. I mean, you look at this, most of these guys are washed. Mancebo is like 95, he's like the Spanish Rebellin, he's not good anymore. Luis Leon Sanchez is like the Spanish Rebellin's younger brother. Like, he's decent, but not amazing, not the same. Valverde, very much the same. Although he kind of had a solid end to the season, I feel. Rojas, not that good. Izaguirre, solid. Landa had a terrible season. Nieves, not the same. Gorka Izaguirre is kind of meh. Bilbao, you know, he's kind of okay. I think he had a reasonable Giro helping somebody. Was it the Giro? Excuse me. Yeah, I think he helped somebody. It was Damiano Caruso. Okay, that's an embarrassment to forget that. I knew it was Caruso. My brain just decided to not function for a sec there. But yeah, again, 9th in Tour de France. Bilbao's almost like one of the best riders this season. But yeah, seriously, Spain have a little bit of talent deficit at the moment. And as a result, I'm going to give them A. But with the caveat that in the future, they might indeed go into the S tier. I mean, if you look at Spanish cycling, the real issue is cobblestones. If we go back to our sort of category thing, like, they don't have any cobblestone riders. They had that, like, once-in-a-lifetime situation with Imanol Erviti, who got top 10 in both Roubaix and Flanders in that one season, where he just went into the breakaway and was like, yes, I'm going to go into the breakaway, and as a result, you guys don't care enough about me, I'll take a top 10, you know, in both of those races. And that was a good job by him, good tactics, so to speak. But yeah, the definite huge deficit in that. I mean, they've got Ivan Garcia Cortina, who's solid, you know, he's a solid young rider. Can win some sprints, decent in the classics, but again, he's not going to win Tour of Flanders anytime soon. So yeah, probably A. But yeah, definitely a fallen country compared to, you know, yesteryear. Estonia, I know Martin Lars and Mikkel Reim. Like, that's it. Like, I know sprinters. I know Rein Tarameh. You know, that's a decent climber. Sort of, you know, top tier Pro Conti, very low tier World Tour at this point. Where are they? 26th. They ranked them. I feel like it's a D or a washed. Kangut as well. I missed out on them, but really it's these four riders. I mean, Yoar, I don't know how to say that. Like, there's too many symbols on top of that. Like, I speak English. I don't speak hieroglyphics like you guys, but yeah, what the hell's that? Alo Yakin. Yeah, Yaki. Like, I don't think he's that good, to be honest. But yeah, these four riders kind of make up the most of the talent. Martin Lars admittedly had a good season. Like, he was probably their best rider. I think I mean, 4 DNFs kind of disputes that, but, you know, third, couple of top 10s in the World Tour, won a Tour of Norway stage, second in Tour of Estonia with the stage. You know, he got a lot of top 3s, a lot of top 2s, you know, solid season from his point of view. But yeah, again, not too many riders that really pull the needle. Like, Tano Kangurt's on the decline. Yeah, not too many good results, and similar with Rein Tarameh. I mean, he was slightly better, I think. You know, some solid results here. Did solid in the Saska Tour. But realistically, I mean, nothing that really pushes the needle, so to speak. So yeah, I would say that Estonia probably D. And then we've got Finland, and they're kind of finished because they're not very good. Finland aren't very good. Like, can I name a Finnish rider? You see Väikkönen from vague memory. he was solid in 2011. You know, he was a decent time trialist, but yeah, this is washed. You know, don't really have to say too much. France, again, I don't have to say too much. This is S tier. You know, they kind of compete in every front of cycling. They've got Alaphilippe for the punchy classics, along with Benoit Connefroy, who had, you know, along with last season, a coming of age couple of seasons in cycling with these punchy, you know, fantastic victories. Some of these smaller French races. And then elsewhere, they've got, I want to say climbing talent. It's not top tier anymore. They had Pinot, Bardet, who are competing for top threes in the Grand Tours. They're not quite at that level, unseated by the Slovenians, of course, which are coming up. But they've still got decent climbing talent. David Gaudu was good this season. Pierre Rollon's not the same level, but Pierre Latour, again, not the same level. So, you know, kind of slacking a little bit in that regard. But still, you know, one of the best nations in the world, according to this second, and very good, you know, cobblestone-wise. Florian Seneschal is a fantastic rider, won a lot of races. Demar, you know, not the same season that he would have wanted from last season, so to speak. Buhani, Kokar, you know, kind of decent pro-continental sprinters. You know, that's probably their best two sprinters along with Demar. Barguil kind of had an off-season. I mean, I say that, I think he got 5th in Liège. Was it Liège? No, La Flèche. Alright, I was close. Yeah. In the Moudaoui, he got 5th. And he said we because they won. He got 5th. Alright, that's a bad joke. But, yeah. I think they're still S tier. You know, they could be A tier, but I'm going to go S tier. They could be A++. But yeah, probably still S tier. And according to PCS, you know, they're the second best team. So, you know, our thoughts kind of align in that sense. But of course, PCS is kind of a little bit more circumspect based on, you know, Philippe Gilbert's, according to them, top active riders. But this, yeah, this takes into account more than just this season. So it's not ideal, but it'll do. Then we go on to Great Britain. Great Britain, of course, you know, I think of Chris Froome, but yeah, Chris Froome's washed. I mean, if Great Britain was just Chris Froome, they're going, I mean, I want to say they go here, but realistically they go in a tier below. Because Chris Froome is like beyond washed at this point. But elsewhere, Adam Yates. Adam Yates is probably the best British rider, along with Pidcock, Ethan Hayter. You know, they have a lot of young talent. Yates isn't young, but really good season this year. I mean, really good in some of the one-weekers. Comes to memory is UAE, Tirreno, I think. Was it Tirreno? Or was that his brother? Not 100% sure. But Basque Country, then did a very good Vuelta a España. So really solid throughout the season. And then, yeah, Ethan Hayter, Tom Pidcock sort of carried the classics load. Really good results from them, of course. Pidcock winning the Brabant-Chapelle, and Ethan Hayter, you know, solid time trialist as well. 8th in the World Championships ITT, but winning second, was it winning? I'm not sure. I think he won Tour of Britain, or unless it was Wout van Aert. Excuse me. And then, yeah, won Algarve as well. I'm pretty sure. Won a whole bunch of smaller sort of pro-Conti races, but he sort of carried the load. Cavendish, of course, that's a huge caveat, so to speak, I'm missing. Like, Cavendish was sensational this year. 4 Tour de France stages speak for itself. So this is, again, sort of A+. Like, they could be S. I think A. I think the season they had was really solid on a lot of fronts. I would say, like, thinking about it, probably time trialing, they're a little bit weak. They don't have Brad Wiggins, they don't have Chris Froome, but they kind of make up for it within, you know, classics development. Lots of potential to be S tier in the future with Pidcock and Hayter leading that Pommy squad. Sorry, I'm Australian, I have to say that. But yeah, then we've got Hungary. And they are hungry people. Okay, I had to say that. Hungary are not a good country. I mean, off the top of my head, they're washed, but let's see if they've got anyone. 33rd, probably not good signs. Actually, Attila Volta, how could I forget the legend himself? He is very good. He's like genuinely very good. Barnabias Peak is kind of solid. Dina's, you know, solid pro Conti. Same with Eric Vetter. I mean, this is just looking at Ella Kometa's team, basically. I think Vetter and Dina are on that, so yeah. Not a very good team. Solid potential, albeit. Volta's a young rider, Vetter, Piak, Dina as well. They're all youngsters, but at the moment they're washed, but maybe they can get clean, so to speak, in the future. Then we've got Ireland. And when I think about Ireland, there's like 3 riders. You've got Sam Bennett, Nicholas Roach, and Dan Martin. That's pretty much it. And that covers, you know, most of the elements of cycling: solid climbing, punching, sprinting. Sam Bennett, of course, this season arguably the best sprinter, but we all know why, given the cardboard cutout shape of Michael Morkov, who's basically worth like 3.5 lead-out men by himself. And yeah, PCS seems to agree, and I don't know why they would disagree, because yeah, these are easily the best 3 Irish riders in the world. But I will say Eddie Dunbar had a really good season this year. I remember Tour de Suisse where he pulled Richie Carapaz on stage 8. Very good result from him. Perhaps not so good for the rest of the year, but that was really impressive. And that deserves plaudits. So probably C. I think they got a lot of top-end talent, probably more than these guys. So yeah, I'll go C, but probably above Canada. Yeah, we'll go for that. Same level as Germany. That doesn't feel right because Germany's got more depth, but Ireland probably have a little bit more top-end quality. I mean, I'm kind of overestimating Nico Roach. Nico Roach isn't good. Nico Roach is no good. But yeah, Dan Martin wasn't that good this season. Kind of an off season. No real big results throughout the season. No wins, no victories. So a little bit underwhelming, but his prestige still gets him very far. And he's still a very good puncher. 7th in Tour of Britain, not too bad, especially given the field. So we'll stick them at C, off the basis of Sam Bennett's really fantastic performance this season. Then we've got Italy, and immediately I think of Sonny Colbrelli, and that's just S tier. I mean, his celebration in Paris-Roubaix was like S+ tier. Like, did you see that? That was like an Oscar nomination celebration. Wow, that's some nice rhyming. But yeah, that was a beautiful celebration. The raw emotion, and the guy was just ridiculous this season. Sonny Colbrelli easily had his best season in the pro peloton. I mean, I just want to dwell on this bloke for a bit. I mean, he covers a lot of terrain, punching, classics, and climbing actually. Very good climbing season this season as well. The Benelux Tour, he won. He won the European Continental Championships. I mean, look at this season. Look at late season Sonny Colbrelli. This is a different breed of human being right here. Won Marco Pantani, 10th in World Champs, probably a bit underwhelming there, but won Paris-Roubaix. And if you told someone that Sonny Colbrelli would win Paris-Roubaix, they probably just would not agree with you. They would say you're lying because that's not him. He doesn't do cobblestones, but he's proven to be. I mean, he does do cobblestones. He was a solid cobblestone rider. I think he won the Brabantse. Yes, he has, but that's not a World Tour race back in the day. I'm not sure if it still is, but yeah, prestige in that race has developed, and it's a pretty big race now. But yeah, Sonny Colbrelli is a pretty big rider now. Like, solid, very impressive win in Paris-Roubaix. And yeah, he was. I mean, Dauphiné was kind of depressing for him. Like, you see all these seconds, you're like, he got outsprinted. No, his team got outbraked. Like, literally, the breakaway won every single stage. Brent Van Moor in that occasion. I'm pretty sure Geraint Thomas on stage 5 as well. So that's really bad. Won a stage in Tour de Romandie. But yeah, his late season surge was huge. But anyways, let's stop the Sonny Colbrelli appreciation thread, although it is necessary because he was their best rider this season. Nizzolo, very good. I think won a Tour de France stage, or I think he won Giro stage. Was it Tour de France or Giro? Maybe both, I don't know. Trentin was solid throughout the season. Solid cobblestones between those two, and Nizzolo's a good sprinter. Pozzovivo is not the same. Viviani kind of had an off year. And sort of climbing, Caruso was really good this season, 2nd in the Giro, solid support in the World Tour as well for Haig. So yeah, as a result, all of those congregation of elements means that Italy probably justifiably get into probably an S- sort of category, but we'll give him S tier. Japan, Yukiya Arashiro is up here, but the rest of their team is here, so we're going to leave them at washed. Then you got Latvia. Tom Skuns. Tom Skuns is a good rider. But like any other good riders? Latvia? I don't think so. Like, Tom Skuns is solid, and then that's the whole team. Nederland's is kind of decent. Emilis Leopins is also kind of decent, but no one that's going to win a World Tour race, to be honest, except for Tom Skuns. So probably you could say washed or D, but I think Tom Skuns, just his presence is better than all of these countries, apart from Arashiro. But still, we'll give him D because Tom Skuns is good, and that's not the worst. Leipins, Nederlands, sort of lower tier World Tour riders. It's not the worst, so we'll give him D. Then you got Lithuania, and I am screwed with Lithuania. I know Ramūnas Navadauskas. I think that's the only Lithuanian I know, because I don't know any others. Like pro-continental sprinters. Actually, no, okay, that's embarrassing. I knew Siskevicius, I just forgot he was Lithuanian, and I knew Konovalovos. Apparently Navadauskas is not in the pro peloton anymore. That is a shame. But yeah, these guys are Baradeurs, cobblestone riders, but nothing special. But Siskovic is kind of like an urban legend at this point because of his Paris-Roubaix performance last year. So does that mean they go to D, or does that mean they're washed? Like this is a toss-up for the ages because they've kind of got like one solid rider. Konovalovos is kind of a little bit below solid, so D or washed, but Siskovic is a goat, so we'll put him on D. Luxembourg, well, they've not got Frank or Andy Schleck anymore. They've got Bob Jungels, who, you know, at some point in his career, some would say he was a good replacement with also a time trialist ability, but he's gone on to not really be that type of rider, more of a flat cobblestone punchy guy now. But who else is there? Realistically, who else is there? I think that's it. Luxembourg, pretty one-dimensional, I want to say. Jan-P Drucker, he was good at some point in his career, but unfortunately that's not this point. Alex Kirsch has always been solid in the Pro Contis, sprinter, puncher type, does well in Wallonia and those sort of races. Ben Gastauer, again, flashback Thursday, like, you need to go back 6 years for him to do anything of worth. So, probably D or washed. Again, toss up. It's, I mean, just because Bob Jungels is really good, they get D. But they could be C. Like, no, they couldn't be C. They could be washed if you really wanted to push it. But what you're getting from this list is a lot of trash nations. I kind of want to put Carapaz in C because he's so good, but the problem is Ecuador have no one else. Now looking at it. And same with Stybar. Like, Stybar, Kruziger, I want to put them at C. I probably will put Czech Republic at C. Like, Stybar, Kruziger, Jan Hurt, that's good enough for C. So we'll give him C, but like very much lower end. And I feel like Germany should go B now, because Germany are still a very solid nation. Lot more depth than some of these nations. Netherlands, now my impulse is saying S. They got Van der Poel, right? Van der Poel, Kelderman, Dumoulin. They cover most terrain. Like Van der Poel obviously covers more terrain than most people in terms of cobbling, punching, sprinting, time trialing. He's got it all. So yeah, he's a help. But elsewhere, Bauke Mollema, he continues to perform despite being in the twilight of his career. Tom Dumoulin, he's back into cycling, got second in the Olympics. Kelderman continues to just be a solid, GC rider, but Pool's probably not as good. Steven Kruijswijk had a very down year. Dylan Groenewegen also not quite the same. Sprinting-wise, they probably don't have the same talent they once had. I don't think they've got too many good sprinters. Van Poppel was good this season. But yeah, not too many good sprinters. Groenewegen was kind of their one hope. Olaf Koy hasn't developed as much as some people would have thought, and same with David Dekker from the Jumbo-Visma squad. So I want to say A, but high end of A, sort of tied with Great Britain, but they could have been S. Sort of, it's a bridge between A and S. They're on that bridge, right? They're somewhere in the middle. Norway, you think of Norway and you think of cobblestones, right? They've got, back in the day, they had Thor himself, Thor Hushovd, and then they had Edvald Boasson Hagen, and then they had Alexander Kristoff. And now they've got Rasmus Tiller. Rasmus Tiller is very good, but he's not quite as good as the aforementioned names. Where is Norway? Norway are 12th, so I would probably predict B. Like, Eiking had a very good season. Grøndal Jansen is a good domestique type rider. Halvorsen is an okay Pro Conti sprinter. Bisteren was pretty solid this year in Dauphiné. Langen is again solid Baradeur. Hulgaard. I mean, the depth kind of drops off, after some of these riders at the top tier. Hagen randomly had an 8th in a Vuelta last season. Some weird Vuelta knowledge for you there, but yeah, really not really anything special. Probably, actually no, Rasmus Tiller does not ride for Norway. Did I screw that up? They have some nice young talent though. Like the Johannesson twins are like amazing. Yep, he is Norwegian. I don't know why he's not ranked. Like, he is legit like a top 3 rider from there. But yeah, Tiller's really good potential, and the Johannesson twins very much so also have really good potential. So yeah, I want to push B, but they're not quite there, so I'll say C as well. This might be a bit mean to some of these nations, but yeah, I think there's a lot of nations on the bottom half of this tier list, but I guess that's the gulf in difference in cycling at the moment. These nations at the top are just a couple tiers, literally, better than these nations at the bottom. Then we've got Poland, Rafał Majka, Michał Kwiatkowski, and that's it. I think that's it. I think that's the extent of their abilities. No offense to Polish people, you have more abilities, but I'm talking cycling wise. Yeah, like these guys are all competent pro-continental riders, but nothing more than that. Petersky was good a couple seasons ago. Kwiat kind of regressed this season, and he has been regressing as of late. And I guess that's just age. I think he's 32. I want to say 32. 31. So yeah, perhaps a little bit of regression, but still a quality rider. Definitely a top 20, 25, 30 type rider in the peloton, but not the top 5 rider he once was. Rafał Majka was actually really good in the Tour this season. Like, you can't underestimate the support he had for Tadej Pogacar during the season, so he deserves plaudits for that for sure. But at the Vuelta, he won a stage. I'll give him credit for that. So solid season, but not the same rider as well. Similar to Kwiatkowski, probably not the same level. So kind of a two-man army. And again, you probably think C. Like, they could be B if it was 5 years ago. They'd be B because they'd have Sylvester Schmidt. Maybe they'd have, who else did they have? Biela Blocky, I don't know. But yeah, Sylvester Schmidt was a good rider. Polianski, is he? I feel like he's Polish. I mean, he's Polianski. He's got to be Polish, right? But C. Yeah, I'll go C for now. Portugal, my impulse says B, but it could be A. Like, Almeida had a very, 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 very good year. They're 13th according to this, lower than Norway, so maybe they still C. Costa, once upon a time, was costing a lot of people a lot of races because he was really good. Of course, he won 3 Tour de Suisses. Thiago Machado, yeah, it's not a very good team. Like, Almeida's sort of hard carrying this. And again, they're very top heavy. Costa, Almeida, they're pretty much, Oliveira's pretty good, Guerrero's okay. But yeah, they don't have a lot of time trialists Almeida, but they don't have a lot of sprinters, cobblestone type of guys. So not very varied in terms of the depth of their talent. But I would say probably C. And, again, some of these countries could push a B, but I'll be a little bit conservative for now and we'll go with C. Russia. If we can excuse all the doping allegations of the Russian people, so to speak. I won't factor in the doping stuff. I mean, not everyone's doping, surely. Probably B. I mean, Sivakov is probably Vlasov. Vlasov, of course, their best rider. Not probably the season he was hoping for, but still, excuse me. I think he got a top 10 GC at least, so that was not too bad. Sivakov was okay at the Tour de France, but he's still got to develop on his promise. Like, he has not. Pretty sure he was a Tour de l'Avenir winner, so he probably still has a little bit of unfulfilled potential. And if you look at the team, like, if you look at these guys, most of these guys are just very mediocre / mediocre to above average pro Conti riders at this point in their career. Ovechkin, Rovny, Shalanov, Firsanov, of course, the infamous Giro time trial that we all know and love. He won that one. Chinechki, again, 5 to 10 years, maybe he was solid, but not anymore. Some of these countries have just kind of steeply declined, so probably C, but there's an argument for B. I'm thinking sprinters, they don't have any sprinters. Cobblestone guys, no. Kolobnev is not there for punching either. So yeah, really one-dimensional, so I'd probably go C. They've got, a decent depth of climbing talent from this list, but nothing sensational. I think this is Slovenia and then Slovakia. I'm almost on impulse just going to put Slovenia, because of course they start with S, as S tier. That obviously makes sense, but I will do some more research. Jan Polanc is a great rider as well. Of course they've got the two goats of cycling, Pog and Rog. I mean, could you name a better love story? Pog and Rog, that's beautiful. But apart from that, Mahorich, oh yes, of course, Matej Mahorich. This guy is like a top 10 rider almost at this point. Insane season from him. He was almost favourite for World Championships. Not quite winning it, but yeah, really good end to the year, along with Colbrelli. I remember that Big Bang Tour performance where they absolutely crushed everyone. It was very inspiring to see that. But yeah, they've got a lot more depth than you'd think. Like, Brajkovic is past it, but yeah, Mahorich is really good. Mezgec is a very serviceable World Tour rider, and Polanc is also very serviceable. Jan Tratnik is also very serviceable. And then a couple of B-Tech Pro Conti riders. But yeah, based off the top, like, sort of top level talent they've got, like Pogacar, Rog, and Mahorich, that's like 3 top 10 guys. Like, without question. They have to be 3 top 10 guys. And I don't think any of these countries in A tier have that. So based off that, the top-heavy nature of their team, it's an S. I've got to give them that. You know, they win 2 Grand Tours, almost guaranteed 2 Grand Tours every season with Pog and Rog. And maybe in the future 3, all 3 of them. So, yeah, I think rightly so they deserve their S tier rank. Slovakia, this is like a one-man show. Peter Sagan, I won't even look. Of course, we've got Juraj Sagan, but he's not quite Peter. And I think that's it. Borut Bozic back in the day, but he ain't it, chief. He's not that anymore. And it sort of comes down to, is Sagan good enough to just bring them to B? And I don't think it is to B. I don't think it is. Like, it could be C. I think it's going to be C. I feel like Colombia, Germany just have a little bit more top tier depth than Slovakia, of course, with the one-man band. Then we've got Switzerland. Stefan Kung, fantastic time trialist. You know, they don't have Cancellara anymore. So I guess Cobbles from before, it's not the same. Fabian Shah, not Fabian Shah, it's wrong sport. Mickey Shah, right? Mickey Shah. You know, solid Baradeur, but aging. Who am I missing? Mark Hirschi did not have the same season he had last season. Very underwhelming, so to speak. But, you know, sort of ended off in a reasonable fashion. And of course, he's a very good chocolate. Hershey bars, we love that. But their team isn't particularly good. Gino Mada, ooh, I completely overlooked him. He had a really good year. He had a really, really good Vuelta. Look at that, 5th place. Very, very impressive. Yeah, he's constantly shown development. Won a Tour de Swiss stage. I think he got robbed of that Paris-Nice stage from Roglic, which is very, very shameful, Primoz, but it's alright, you're S tier, don't worry about it. So yeah, Switzerland, I think I'll go B. I think they deserve it. Gino Mada, Stefan Kung, and who was the last one? Mark Hirschi. They're good enough for B. I mean, they could be C. Like, they've got some reasonable depth as well. Reichenbach, Hollenstein, Stefan Bissiger is a really good time trialist. Yeah. With Stefan Bissiger, their time trialing talent's really good. Climbing, not so much, but punching is also solid. Climbing, with Mada, it's kind of decent. Franchini's a solid domestique. So, yeah, I'll go B. And the B tier is kind of looking lean anyways, so may as well improve that. Then we got Sweden, and Sweden is like an impulse C. All I know of Sweden is probably the Ludvigsen guys. So they might be D, because Ludvigsen guys aren't that good guys, right? They're not that good. Where is Sweden? Sweden. Sverige. Where is Sweden? Alright, Sweden is 34th. It's probably indicative of a D rank. Yeah, these guys aren't good. These guys are not your chief. They're going to go D. I moved them for some reason. Sorry, not C. They're going to go D. America, I think, immediately are a B tier team, and that's because they've actually got solid depth. Genuine depth. I think they've got McNulty, fantastic up-and-coming rider. Sepp Kuss, Nielsen Paulus, especially in the mountains. Some solid depth. Yeah, solid depth in the climbing. Nielsen Paulus took a huge step forward. Craddock was solid at Dauphiné and the Tour in some of these sort of Baradeur breakaway situations. And yeah, they're lots of solid time trialists. Probably not the cobble depth, you know, or even just the cobble talent that they'd like, but loads of pretty good to great climbers. Not loads, but enough to warrant a B rank. So I'll give them B. Then we've got Venezuela. They're washed. I mean, change my mind. They're just washed. Austria are a good team. I think Kroschartner, Conrad, Mühlberger, these are some solid riders. You know, solid, punchy, climby riders. They can do a job for any World Tour team. But Haller is really good. Haller's a really, like, he's prime real estate for domestique-wise. Like, he is very, very good. I like Marco Haller. Like, 17th in Roubaix, solid in Deutschland Tour. And I guess his performances kind of underrate his ability because he is sort of an all-for-the-team type rider. So he's really good. Pernsteiner is someone that does like a Zubeldia-esque top 10 ride where you don't see him, but top 10 it is. Michael Gall had a very good Strade Bianche. There's solid depth. Zoidel, solid Pro Conti rider. Solid depth, so I want to go C. I think we'll go for C. I think this is Kosovo, unless it's Kazakhstan. Like, this could be Kazakhstan. It's not Kosovo. Kosovo don't have cyclists. No way they do. I think this is Kazakhstan. Yeah. I mean, the flag looks a bit whack. Like, what is going on? That's not this. Actually, no, it is. It just looks weird. No, it is that. It just doesn't look right to me. But Kazakhstan's a one-man army. It's Lutsenko and everyone else. Like, everyone else is just very mediocre. Andrei Zaitsev is alright, but everyone else, pro-Conti / continental mediocrity. And as a result, I think C or D? I probably D. Like, they don't have the, apart from Lutsenko, they don't have the top tier quality of these guys. And I put Carapaz in D, just because he was the only one, so we'll put Lutsenko's country in D as well, because he's the only one. And I think about some of these countries, yeah, Canada have a little bit more depth, Ireland, they got 2 guys instead of 1 guy. Czech Republic, again, Stiba, Kreuziger, Hurt, a little bit more depth. So yeah, I'm happy with that. Denmark, of course, team pursuit champions, not in the, I don't think they were, because Italy won it in the Olympics, but world champions in the track. You know, in the UCI Track World Championships. I think B. Mads Pedersen had a little bit of an underwhelming year, but an underwhelming year for him is still a very good year. They've got a lot of up-and-coming riders. They've got Kra Andersens, they've got Valgren really caught everyone's eye in the Vuelta this season. Oof, he had some really nice breakaway rides, some really nice sprints as well. Valgren just performs when he wants to, apparently, nowadays, because, I mean, just look at this guy's year, right? You look at these results, you're like, okay, 13th in Amstel, that's reasonable. Not bad, Dauphiné, pretty awful Tour de France, and then bang. Like, what? How? Like, houseway? Like, what? Like, where did this come from? Third, he got a bronze medal in the World Champs, and he got 2 wins in small Italian races. I mean, that is very impressive. And I think he beat some not bad competition. Like, Colbrelli, he beat even, you know, the GOAT of the late season, Colbrelli, so Valgren is like a very inconsistent rider at this point of his career, but still a good rider. Fulsang kind of in the twilight of his career. But yeah, some nice young talent. Price Pedersen's a solid young rider as well. Vingegaard. Ooh, I skipped him. Vingegaard, second in the Tour de France. Coming of age season for Jonas. Also did very well in Basque Country. And I will say that this Danish team has a lot of depth, a lot of talent in a lot of areas as well. Soren Kragh Andersen, solid breakaway, punchy sort of guy. Askren, fantastic. Yep, he covers the cobblestones very nicely, along with some of his mates. Yeah, this is a really complete team. It's almost A. If they continue to develop some of their youngsters, it could be an A team. But at the moment, they're a B team. But yeah, potential A team in the offing. Then we've got Turkey. And the first person I think of is actually Hakan Çalhanoğlu. So wrong sport, right? He's not going to help us. I mean, he'd probably be better than most of their cyclists, let's be honest. I think Ahmet Erkin, he's probably their best rider. I mean, they're not particularly good. No offense, Turkey. You're not particularly good. And I can't even see your country anywhere. 68. Yeah, Ahmet Erkin, yep, he's their best rider. And everyone else, Balkan can sprint a little bit. They're washed. I didn't even need to check it. They are washed beyond repair. And then we've got, is that Romania? I don't know. Is this Romania? Is this Romania? I was thinking about this earlier in the video. I was like, why are Italians called Romans if we've literally got a country called Romanian? Like Romania. Like, why can't they just be called Romans? But anyways, I'm sidetracking. Let's shut up, Ruffin. Let's not talk about that. We're here for cycling. But yeah, I think this is Romania. I want to look at their flag. Where are they? Romania. Yes, this is Romania. I think this is Moldova. And Moldova's washed. So, yeah. Romania, again, I talk so much about their name, and for no reason, because they're also washed. Like, Tfatkov is good, but that's it, right? They've got Tfatkov, he's okay. And then everyone else is just unknown Conti riders. Grossu is also okay. Like, there is a push, there is a debate for like a lower half of D, but if your best rider is just like a good to great pro Conti rider, it's not quite good enough for D. Although it could be. Like, it genuinely could be. I'm looking at D. I mean, Estonia aren't exactly fantastic. You know, they're not as good as Kazakhstan, Ecuador, but like, do you put them at D or do you clean them up with the washes in the wash category? I don't know. With the dishes, not the washes, what the hell. Ooh, we'll go D. We'll go washed. We'll go washed because realistically, Grossu's over the hump. Grossu's like, he's Grossu too much. He's 29, but like, Nah, mate. Like, he's not good. He's not good anymore. I mean, a couple of top fives here and there, but he's not the same rider he was a couple years, and that's going to determine their rank. They're going to be washed instead of D. But they're probably the first washed team, first to be cleaned, which is apparently some moral victory for you Romanians out there. And then you got Ukraine. Ukraine. Who's on Ukraine? Mark Padun. He's fantastic. Very good year. But, like, who else? Lots of, like, Vitaly Butz. Like, he's going to be on here? No. Yes, he is actually first. That's some pro cycling manager knowledge for you. It's the only reason I know him. Yeah, like, I was thinking of Ukrainian guys, and I couldn't think of anyone, and thankfully PCS has appreciated my lack of thinking, because they've also got a lack of thinking. Because there's no one good. Ukraine, you're not good. No offense, cuz, like, you're not there. You're washed. Yeah. Mark Padun's like their saving grace. Could be D, but, like, again, Mark Padun's really good, so we'll put them in the higher end. I mean, are they better than Lithuania? Yes. Yes. Okay, that was a bit mean. We'll put them sort of higher end. Luxembourg's probably in there. You know, they got a bit more high-end talent with Jungels, Kazakhstan. I mean, these are kind of just, like, who is, like, all of these D to wash teams, they've all got potentially one good rider. So Carapaz is the best of these poor teams, and then you got Lutsenko, Jungels, Padun, Girmay. That's pretty much how it's ranked, and everyone else just has terrible riders, admittedly. And then New Zealand. The team we beat in the World Cup final. Thank you. You guys don't know about that unless you're cricket fans, but yeah, New Zealand, unlucky mate. They're a very good cricket team, but not the same in cycling. Not the same. I mean, Paddy Bevan is fantastic. He is really good. I think he's underrated. George Bennett, he kind of had an understated season this season, like really underwhelming. Not really good at all. Like, no top tens. Not even in the Giro. Not even in the not even. Come on, that's disappointing. Yeah, he was not it, chief. Of course, he wins the NZ road race, but what does that matter? Doesn't matter for squat. So, yeah, really poor year. Paddy Bevan's their saving grace, and because of that, I mean, actually, George Bennett, I mean, I guess D, but at the same time, like, Bevan and George Bennett are good riders. Like, genuinely good riders. So, Archibald's kind of decent. Ooh, Dion Smith. Forgot about Dion Smith. Alright, maybe they go up a little bit. Probably to here. And that's it. Yeah, I think that's all they get. Jack Bauer's okay. Shane Archibald's similarly okay. Although his mullet is very good. I'll give him that much. So yeah, that's the list. I think that's the list. I think that's the entire list. I might reshuffle a couple of countries. I'll maybe move people to, like, just within the ranks. I probably won't move them between ranks, just within them, just for clarification on the chronological order, so to speak. So, excuse me. Yeah, Belgium. I'll probably put Slovenia ahead of Italy just because their Grand Tour depth is so good. Or, well, two riders specifically are so good. They're just better than everyone else. Netherlands, England, Australia, Spain. Spain, I still... Ooh, it's a hard one. Spain just don't have, like, the top-tier talent that Australia have. It's a strange thing to say. Because back in the day, they were the best team. They were the best country in the world. But not anymore, alas. We're not in that time of the Contadors and the Zubeldias and the Valverde, the good Valverde, Rodriguez and that. Netherlands, UK, or Great Britain, whatever you want. I don't know. I think Netherlands get it just off cycling traditionalist. Like, I don't know. Like, they're a dead heat, but Netherlands have a lot more prestige in the sport, so we'll give them that. Yeah, that's what prestige matters. That's what prestige is for, guys. You know, to beat the dead heat between England, very important. And then Colombia, Denmark, Switzerland. Switzerland's not that good. America's probably... Ooh, this is an interesting one. Colombia, Denmark, they're probably equal. Germany, I mean, they used to be better than Denmark, but probably behind now. Switzerland is a coin toss again, but I like Stefan Kung, so they go B. Like, I like him more than the American riders, so they can go B. C. C. There's not much to see here. That was a bad joke. Austria, Slovakia, one-man team. I mean, to be honest, Slovakia's a one-man team, and my whole logic was that these guys are all like trash, but with one good rider. So Slovakia, I mean, Sagan is... I mean, he's not even as good as Carapaz nowadays. So maybe they go like second here. I think Carapaz is better. So yeah, I guess D. And then all these guys have a little bit more depth. Probably Portugal's better than Austria. Poland, the mighty Poles, not so mighty at the moment. Kwiat, I mean Kwiat's really good. We'll put Kwiat in there. I mean Almeida's better than Kwiat. This is how we rank it, just off singular riders. Austria or Russia? Austria or Russia? Austria. Yeah, we'll stick with Austria. Austria is really good nowadays compared to before, whilst Russia's declined. So that's my justification. Norway probably slightly above. Czech Republic, stick Ireland ahead of Czech Republic. They got a really world class. In fact, we'll stick them up here as well because Sam Bennett is like top 3 sprinter sort of rider. Canada, yeah. I mean, Mike Woods is better than any Russian rider at the moment, but I don't think the depth difference is quite a bit. So yeah, we'll keep Canada there, New Zealand there, and I think the rest is just a cluster craziness. Like all of this is just rubbish. Like apart from like one rider on some of these teams, everyone else is a bit garbage. Actually, we'll put Eritrea above because Girmay is a god. And yeah, that's what really matters. So that's my list, and yeah. I hope you enjoyed this video, ranking all of these beautiful countries in chronological order from S to washed. I do think this is like, this kind of shows that in cycling there's like a huge gulf in talent. Like there's a lot of poorer countries and the talent is kind of concentrated at the top, especially with these, these 4 nations at the moment. Because these 4 nations, I'm pretty sure, like if you check, of course Bernal won a Grand Tour, but I feel like these 4 nations won all of the monuments, all of like the one-day races, all of the classics. Maybe Netherlands won a couple. I mean, England won a couple as well, but really it's sort of like the top 8 and then everyone else. Maybe you include Colombia as well. So yeah. Anyways, that's sort of a general point on maybe a little bit of inequality in cycling, but as the sport grows, I feel like, like every other sport, the difference in quality becomes smaller as other countries are, they're exposing themselves to, increased, health and increased infrastructure and cycling infrastructure and all that. So I guess that's the hope from a purist perspective. But if you're a traditional country, you probably want to maintain that power, as Belgium or Netherlands. But anyways, I'm blabbering on about complete rubbish. So let's stop this video. That sounds like a good time to stop this video. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Little recap on all of the countries in cycling, where they should be placed in my humble opinion. And I hope you enjoyed. It's probably way too long, to be honest. I mean, Benji's video was also too long, but like, yeah, it's a lot of countries to rank and a lot of analysis to go through. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.